Welcome to Beautiful Work, Beautiful Life. You're here on our podcast with two life coaches, two Laurels that love to talk about inner work. This Laurel, I will introduce myself, is a former mental health counselor. I worked a lot with addiction and duly diagnosed people. And I became a life coach when I got really into energy medicine. I was a Tai Chi instructor and did a lot of cool things in the energy world. So anyway, I'd love to weave together all of that. And my co host, Laurel Boivin, is a seasoned coach as well. And she's done a lot of embodiment work, a lot of work around the nervous system. And she helps her clients I would say, reclaim the joy in their lives and recover from burnout and overwhelm if that's where they're at. How does
What a,
that feel, Laurel? Did I describe you okay over there?
you did. What a
Good.
beautiful introduction. Thank you. And I'm
You-
just going to add, I came to my own my coaching practice through my own inner work and self-awareness discovery phase.
Yeah,
Um,
I did too.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, right?
wonderful place to grow through.
It's a wonderful place to go through, and you really learn about yourself and then what your skills are. So that's what brought us where we are now. And we love to talk about this work because we know, wow, I mean, we watch our transformations all the time with people in our work, and we get to see that this work really does work. So
It does.
we're big proponents of inner work. Today, we are airing our podcast on the week of the end of October. So we're rolling towards Halloween. And for those of you who look at it or celebrate it, Samhain, and it's the time of the year when they talk about it being the thinnest time between the veil between two worlds, right? If you want
Yes.
to communicate with those that have crossed over, now is your time to listen in and maybe speak out to them. And it inspired our conversation today, which is going to be on the topic of, let's say, closure and death. Is that a good way to describe it,
That
Laurel?
is, yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I like to think of it also closure, death, and new beginnings.
And new beginnings. And we're titled the show Choosing Life Before It's Too Late as just an invitation to come over here and have this conversation with us. Uh, and there's many ways that we could approach this conversation, right, Laura? We could jump right in and I did a lot of death work when I was doing my shamanic training, and there's a lot of heaviness that could go on around this. So we're going to try to keep it as light and as short and as sweet as we can for everybody out there. And the way that we thought we'd do it that might be helpful is to use what is now, I think, considered one of the premier um, books and bodies of research, collected research with someone who spent her time at the side of the dying and listened to the painful regrets that they experienced and talks about the five top things that people regretted on their deathbed, which came up over and over and over again. So we thought we'd check in. Her name is Bronnie Ware, and we'll have that information in the show notes. But we're going to talk about those five things today. We're going to thank Bronnie first and foremost for doing that work and for sharing it with the world. This is really important stuff. And when we talk about doing inner work, all of these things are so pertinent, aren't they, Laurel, to what we often talk about on the show. And we wanted to bring them as a little collection today to help everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to talking about these five things.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about the first one. And I would say if you're listening into the show and you want to make this the most useful as you can today, maybe just if you haven't heard about this study before and you haven't approached these subjects, just make your little list and then take some time, maybe for the next month, to check in with yourself. How are you doing on each one of these? Yeah.
Yes. And I will list them in the show notes and we'll put Bronnie's name and her work in there
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
All
So
right,
the first,
number
yeah.
one.
So number one, the courage to be your true self, to be authentically you. People lay on their dying bed and wished that they had really been who they believe that they are in their heart, right?
Or
Oh,
they regretted
yeah.
that they
Wore a
lived
mask,
that
played a
yeah,
part,
that yeah, that
right?
they lived their life being someone else.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I mean, I know for me, I just told this story last weekend. The day that I said to my husband, one day you're going to read my obituary and you're going to be surprised. And
Mhm.
he said, why? What are you hiding from me?
Mhm.
And out of my mouth came, nothing, I'm not hiding from myself. That
Yeah.
was the day I knew I was not living as my authentic self. I was not being true to myself.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Laurel, do you know how many years ago that was? Do you, can you,
I think it was in 2014,
uh,
2013, 2014.
yeah. So 11, 10 or 11 years
Yeah.
ago. Yeah. Do you feel like in those 10 years things have turned around for you?
Oh, they are turning.
Yeah.
I haven't achieved, I haven't crossed the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think I am so much more aware of who I truly am, and I am more courageous and willing to live as my true self
Mm-hmm.
and not worry or not limit myself based on what other people expect me to be.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe journaling questions around that might be what keeps you from being authentically you? In what areas of your life are you struggling to show up as how you really truly believe, is living in your truth, standing in who you really are?
Yeah. Another one
Anything?
that comes up is what am I doing that doesn't feel like my true self?
Mhm.
And who am I doing it for?
Mm. What rule am I following that keeps me doing what I know doesn't feel true to me or feel right? Ooh,
Yeah.
that's good.
What
Okay.
role am I playing and who assigned me that role?
Mm.
So many questions here, Laurel.
I know, I know. Ooh, that's good though. That's a great good place for everybody to start. And we don't want to overwhelm everybody. We're
No,
not going to put everything in one show to try to
no.
address. Yeah.
So let's go to number two then.
Okay. Oh my gosh, Laurel, I love this one. And it so speaks to the work that you're doing so much with people is burnout, right? People wish they hadn't worked so hard.
Yes.
They regretted working so hard.
And I just have to say, I'm seeing this a lot with younger clients.
Mm,
And even, my my own children, the way that they work is different than how I worked at their age or
mm,
my expectation of what work is. When I think about a lot of young people deciding they're going to work in a way that gives them more time to play in their life or to pursue travel while they're still working, or maybe they don't aren't working for the house and the 2.2 children and all of the things
yeah.
that my generation worked for.
Mm,
But wishing that they hadn't worked so hard, that's really wisdom that probably comes at the end of your life when you look
yeah.
back and think, I had all this, but I missed out on other things because I worked so hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it really speaks to, that we are relational human beings and we need our relationships and and we're creative beings, right? We need our creative time, we need our relational time. And when we devote it to work and it doesn't feel like it's really fulfilling those aspects of who we are as a human, sometimes that can be a real, yeah, reality for people that's hard
Yeah,
to swallow.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
do want to say, this doesn't, for me at least, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to work hard. It
Mhm.
means that I'm not going to take myself so serious
That's great.
and that work is not going to be the only thing in my life.
Yeah, right,
Because
right.
when I work like now, in comparison perhaps to how I worked younger in my career, I really feel the work I'm doing now is much more aligned with my purpose and the gifts I want to bring to the world. And I believe the gifts I've been given to bring to the world.
Mm.
And so it's not that hard work, you know, we're not shaming hard work, anybody.
No,
We're not doing that.
not shame and hard work.
But mission, purpose, based work is so different.
Yeah.
What is it? What comes up for you when you think about?
Yeah, I think it's being clear about why you're working hard. I'm reading a book right now about patriarchy. It's one of the books I've really been enjoying, and I'm kind of going through it slowly, but there's so many good points in it. And one of the ones that I was just reading about was this idea of why we work so hard, right? And in our culture, we've come from this kind of developmental period as humans, especially in the Western world here in the United States, where men were the provider, have been the providers, right? So they've went out to the world, they did their work, they brought the money home so that they'd provide for their family, and so it became this self-definition, that I'm defined now by my work, by my role, right, at work, and not necessarily as the provider, right? So this is kind of in an interesting dynamic if one were to be really truly honest with themselves, right? Work is one way to express yourself in the world, right?
Yes,
It's not necessarily a way to define yourself in the world. And if you're defining yourself that way, that feels like it's being imposed upon you. If you're expressing yourself through your work, you feel like you're being you in your work, right?
yes,
Those are so different. And I think that, if you're going to work to provide for your family because you love family and you care about your children and you want to see them have a good life and you want them to, X, Y, and Z, then that's kind of inspiration and motivation versus a regret that I worked so hard, you know?
yes. And
Yeah.
and I think it comes into balance, right? How can you still work hard but not miss out on your lifetime, the memory making, the
Mhm.
relationships?
Yeah.
And I know it's a struggle for some people where they don't take enough vacation time or they feel like they can't be out of the office because, if they're not there to do that work, it won't get done. And so, you know, how can you honor the work that you're doing so that you can provide and contribute to the world in a way that feels good? You
Yeah.
can express yourself through your work, but you're not sacrificing other important things as well. I think
Yeah.
that's the secret.
Yeah. And it's not, I mean, let's face it, in the years when we are working hard, from that whatever 20 to, 60, that's 40 years. It's like, wow, it's
Yes.
a lot of years of our lives, right? Half,
Yes. Yes.
if we talk about the average lifespan.
Yeah.
And how can you make it more balanced and really feeling like you're also nourished by your relationships, feeling like you have self-expression, that you have some sort of creative activity. And I don't know. Yeah, we don't have all the answers. We're just posing the questions
That's
here,
right. And
folks. And
can you
yeah.
mention the name of the book so that we can put it in the show notes? I can
I think it's Regrets of the Dying.
Oh
The
no, the
five
book
Regrets of the
about patriarchy that you mentioned.
Oh yes, that is The Will to Change by Bell Hooks.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll put that in the show notes
Yeah.
as well.
And
And
that's a
number
really
3,
famous book, actually. Yeah.
you ready to move on to number 3?
Oh, Laurel, I love this one. I
You love every one of them,
do,
Laurel.
I do, but this one is my jam, man. The courage to talk about your feelings, to express your feelings.
Yeah, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
When did this become your jam?
Oh, when I healed from not being able to talk about my feelings.
Okay, there we have it.
That's right. That's right. To not have, when I healed from not having the courage to talk about my feelings, right? Developing the courage to talk about my own feelings and recognizing how hard it can be. And then recognizing the power and the simplicity that talking about your feelings brings to your life and also to other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, this is a big one because I too grew up in a household and lived a lot of my life not talking about my feelings.
Mm.
I think in my conversation with Nick Tucker in the episode a few weeks ago, he had mentioned,
Yeah.
his inability to talk about feelings early in his life. And I think it's a big one when you start to learn how to talk about your feelings and practice talking about your feelings and creating a safe space for other people, inviting others to talk about their feelings.
Yeah.
It changes relationships.
It totally does. And I think the key, Laurel, is so much about um, the last thing that you tagged on there, right? Which we often underestimate as being the enriching, fulfilling experience, which is, look, it takes a lot of courage to express your feelings. Okay, so that was one of the regrets of the dying.
Yeah.
But in order to have a really healthy, full relationship with somebody else, you got to be a good listener and you encourage them to express their feelings too.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That listening skill to listen rather than listening to respond,
Yeah.
listening to reply, um, is really an important skill that we often don't learn until later in life.
Yeah. And really the the benefit or the fulfillment and the enriching experience as a human being and the thing that we all crave is the intimacy that comes from being able to share your feelings and being able to witness other people sharing their feelings and feeling like you've made a connection that is so um, close because you've shared something that's so true to your heart and deep in your heart, and we're able to witness somebody else doing the same, and
Yes,
that's where the intimacy comes from, right?
it
Yeah.
really does. It really does. And the gift that we give to others by listening
Mm,
and holding that safe space. And
yeah.
I don't believe, I mean, this is what we do, you and I do for work,
Yeah.
but coaches are not the only ones that are capable of creating safe space for others to share their feelings or to
Yeah.
process their feelings. I mean, sometimes, this exploration of feelings and learning how to express your feelings, it starts with just being able to process them, just being able to feel them, being allowed to feel them.
Yeah. And some of that work begins with you just doing it for yourself, right?
Yes.
At the beginning, if you don't have a safe space to start practicing, your journal is always a safe place. It's
Yes.
always a place where you just first tell yourself the truth, right? That's what I
Yes.
always start with. First tell yourself. Sometimes that's hard enough.
That is hard enough.
Yeah, can be. It
It,
can be
yeah.
if, especially if we've been living in a way where we didn't want to look at that truth, right? Because it made us too uncomfortable.
Yes.
There's a lot of work to be done just in developing the muscle to deal with the discomfort that can come with, oh, this is really truly how I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when that when that starts to happen, this is truly how I feel. What for at least in my experience, what happens is that opens the door to a whole another layer of emotion and feelings. And so it's not that you stop there, right? And so this journaling, maybe it's just you write a little bit every day. Maybe
Mm,
you recognize one feeling every day. Not try to tackle the whole dozen feelings that come up when you start to acknowledge your truth.
yeah. I mean, we are so complex, right?
Oh
Sometimes
yeah.
feelings are come in a big complex, there's five at once. And so we're like, I don't know what I feel. I'm like, it's okay, We'll just what's one thing you feel and start there, right? And
Yeah.
then it's almost you deconstruct it and it feels more manageable. When it comes in that big cluster like that, it does feel unmanageable,
It
doesn't it?
does.
Yeah.
And I think it reminds me that naming the feeling for me
Yeah.
often is the first step in being able to process it, right?
Yep.
Identifying it.
Agreed.
And so when I think about, I'm feeling too much, that's where I tend to get overloaded, overburdened, overwhelmed with the amount of emotion. But if I can just name one or two, then I can just, focus on that one or two.
Yeah. Yeah. And begin processing the
Yeah.
feeling, right? So processing the feeling is actually feeling the feeling more in its pure form. So if you go, oh my God, I'm so disappointed. I thought I was angry, but I'm really disappointed. Oh, how do we just like let that, how do we just process the disappointment, right? So
Yeah.
you start, what's disappointed you and how's it making you feel? And what do you wish had happened? Like there's so many things there in the process of really moving through the disappointment to get to the other side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
big work.
I know it is big work. And why are we doing this? Because when you are on your deathbed, the things that are unfinished usually come up.
Yes.
So we're inviting you to do some of this work so that you're not lying there feeling like, oh, I have so much work to do and I'm here. I only have 10 minutes or 10 hours or 10 days or 10 weeks or whatever it is left to do it. Yeah,
Yeah. And I
yeah,
just want to say that there's other times too, not just on your deathbed, but maybe someone else has passed, right? And you didn't
yeah.
have
Good.
the ability to speak freely, truly about your emotions with that person. Or maybe you have a regret because of something you missed out on in that relationship. And, I think about this a lot, like death as our physical on our deathbed, but it could also be, when someone else dies, or it could be when you know, when a job ends, or a marriage ends, or children become adults. I
Mm,
mean, there's a lot of passings in our lifetime
yeah,
that close a chapter that might spur some regret
yeah,
if we didn't have the ability or the time within that chapter to be ourselves, to process and speak about our feelings. Or
yeah.
what was that other one? Let's see. Be
Be your
yourself.
authentic self. I
That's
think that's
right.
that's actually part of being your authentic self is really owning your feelings and being able
Yeah.
to express them well.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like one of my some of the deathbed work that I did, and along the way, especially when I was doing my shamanic training, was in my morning meditation. Sitting with myself and really asking myself if I were to die, tomorrow or 3 days from now or a month from now, what do I wish that I had said to the people in my life that I haven't said yet? And actually took the time to process those things first internally and then to actually write letters and have conversations and have the courage to express myself fully and then let the relationship go wherever it went after I did that because a lot of times we don't say things because we're afraid of losing the relationship,
Yeah.
or feeling like we're damaging it in some way that can't be salvaged um and then we lie there wishing that we had said it at some point. So
Yeah.
I've never been sorry of any of the times that I did what I did. And I really worked hard to first process them myself and then do it well, do it with compassion, do it with love, do it with kindness and respect. And, if they didn't want to deal with me because they didn't like it, then that was their choice. I can't,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I think so many relationships can end because we don't say what we need to say.
yeah, yeah.
So we probably need an entire episode about
Yes,
that topic.
we do. That's a
Let's
long
go
one.
on to number 4.
Well, and this one's a really interesting one, and it's what we're talking about, when you're working too hard, right? What the people regretted not staying in touch with friends. So, we talk about, are you investing the time that you need to have the kind of relationships that you want to have in your life, right? Whether it's
Yes.
friends, family, children. I think some people feel like, oh, I wish I really knew my children, or I wish I'd spent more time with my family, right? Some this one happens to be stayed in touch with friends. wow, how are your friendships? What are the conditions of your friendships? Do you have the friendships you wish you had, wanted?
Yeah.
There's a
And
lot of inventory there, isn't there?
there is. And am I devoting time to
Yeah,
those friendships? Right?
yeah,
We tend to become really busy, and then we're too busy for certain relationships.
yeah.
And that I think I can see how at the end of someone's life, that would end up being among the top five regrets
Mm,
of the
yeah,
dying.
yeah, yeah.
Because
I know. Go ahead.
relationships are really what make life what it is.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so too. I feel like in a lot of the relational studies that I've done over the course of my training and time is one of the issues for many women is letting go of friendships to keep their primary relationship with their partner in a in a in a in a way that is making the partner happy, right? And so that's often a juggling act for many women is being able to still maintain your friendships the way that you want to and have a good relationship with your partner and do all the things, right? Yeah, it's not easy in the world
No,
today.
and oftentimes, long-term friendships in particular, hit different stages. Each person in the relationship might be in a different stage in life. And so, how can you keep in touch without being in the same phase of life?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I think about this a lot. It might just be letting someone know you're thinking of them or sending a card, a written card in the mail, believe it or not, right?
love getting
Some,
those.
right? I mean, so how there are little ways that you can still be in relationship and continue relationships, even if you don't have a lot of time to devote.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it is possible.
Yeah. And
The last one.
this one's my favorite, Laurel.
Here's what people said. I wish I let myself be happier. And what a wording in that. I wish I let myself be happier.
Do you find that wording odd? I find it to be so spot on.
I know. Well, I think back to, I don't know, I guess my own growing up and the sense of, uh, devotion, more devotion to work and being intellectual and being serious and, y-
Yeah,
things that didn't necessarily make anybody happy.
right.
Yeah.
And being led to believe that life isn't about being happy.
Or joyful.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is why I love this one because
Mm.
I honestly believe that we are as happy as we allow ourselves to be,
Yeah.
which goes into not taking yourself so seriously or not working so hard, right? Like, those are the things that often get in the way of happiness. You
Mm.
know, I've done so much reading on happiness, and um, some of my favorite books, I don't know if you know Gretchen Rubin.
Yeah.
Um, Her books on happiness are incredible.
Mm.
Um, Martha Beck's The Joy Diet.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, I can't remember his name at this moment. 10% Happier. Do you
Yeah, I
know
don't
that book?
know. No.
I
Mm-mm.
will. Oh, he was a news broadcaster
Mm.
who ended up suffering from with anxiety,
Oh, yeah.
and wrote a book, 10% Happier. I'll put these books in the show notes, but
That's great.
right, all of them have this same kind of context of we are responsible for and are capable of our own happiness.
Yeah. As the well-renowned author and I would say philosopher, maybe current philosopher, Joseph Campbell says, follow your bliss. Follow
Yes.
your bliss. Yeah. Yeah. My friend was just quoting that on our phone call this morning, right? Is follow your bliss. And if we all did that, yeah, where would we be and what would we be doing in the world? Even if we were still working, right?
Yes.
If we were holding on our job because it's part of
Yes.
what we have to do to survive in the world, but also following our bliss,
Yes.
what would that change? Yeah.
And let's talk just for a minute about what it takes to let yourself be happy.
Here. Yeah.
Because it's in there are you have to do some work in order to follow your bliss.
Yep.
You have to know what makes you happy.
Yep.
You have
That
to
in and of itself is a journey, isn't it,
it
Laura?
is, yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
You have to know what gets in the way.
Mm,
And you have to get really clear about your priorities
yeah.
and what you're willing to sacrifice if you're holding on to the things that don't make you happy. Like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes those can be uh, hard questions to ask ourselves, if we're afraid of being alone, if we're afraid of being lonely, if we're afraid of losing our family, if we're afraid of being rejected by the world, like, and these are all right,
Afraid of
fear-based
being judged,
questions.
afraid of,
Yeah.
when I think about how many people aren't happy in their work, in the
Mm,
jobs that they're in, but they're they're choosing, they might need the money to support their family.
yeah.
I see this happen a lot. And
Yeah.
so it is that these are hard decisions, even after you identify what happy looks like or why you're not following your bliss, what's holding you back.
Mm,
These are hard choices that we have to make in life.
yeah. Yeah. I remember working with people over time, that had been in jobs for so long and were so unhappy and working with them to challenge their thinking around the possibility of moving on and embracing something new, doing something different. And the mindset always seemed to come back to, I've been working so hard to get to this. I only have X many years, and then I will finally get my payout, right, of whatever that looks like. And sometimes these were government employees, and I think the world, I guess, is changing fast in front of our eyes rapidly that philosophy is not working anymore.
Yes,
It may not work for you. So, yeah, I think this idea of following your bliss and finding a work that feels suited to you in ways that isn't soul sucking, as many people have quoted, I'm
yes,
quoting people saying, I feel like that sucked the life out of me.
yeah. And
Yeah,
letting yourself be happy, allowing yourself to be happy. And one of the things that comes up is being able to anchor into your worthiness. You are worthy of being happy in this lifetime. You don't have
yeah,
to wait until your deathbed
yeah.
to regret that you didn't allow yourself to be happy.
Yeah. So I would say if you feel like you're starting in a place where you're like, I don't know what would make me happy. I don't know what I would want. I don't know a job that would make me feel good or whatever. This is, I think, where your creativity and your imagination come in. Because in your mind, if you just say to yourself, it doesn't matter what my answer is. I just need to say to myself, if I was living a happy life, what would I be doing? And continually stay with that question, with that question, with that question. Your creative mind, your imagination will pose a picture, come up with an answer, have some sort of direction for you, even if it's just one little tiny step in the direction of something. And
Yes,
then the work is having the courage to take the step,
that's
which
right. That's
is the
right.
perfect wrap up here for our shows for the month, isn't it? I think
Yes.
that's where you started the month, isn't it, Laura?
Yes. It
Yeah.
really, yeah, just one step at a time,
The
one
power
small
of one
step.
small step. I
Yeah.
know.
It's been such a great month, and this was a really good conversation to close it out.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like it offers everybody, a lens, one way to begin to look at your life. And do you feel like you would have any of these regrets if tomorrow you found out you only had another week to go, Yeah. Yeah.
And, and What are you doing now so that you
Mm,
don't have these regrets?
yeah. What can you do? What's the small step you can take today in
Yes.
fulfilling all of these, right? Take them one at a time if you need to. Yeah.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Laurel.
Oh, thank you. I had a great conversation. Loved it. And we're back in November for our month about creativity
I
and
can't wait for that
Thanksgiving month, which is
conversation.
always a good time to give our gratitude to everybody, isn't it? And talk about
Yes.
gratitude a little bit. Yeah, let's wrap up our month in November with a little talk on gratitude. We always like to cycle back to that and give you new ideas and new thoughts on that. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a good theme for the month of Thanksgiving
Yeah, it
here
is.
in the US. Well,
We will be back for more, won't we?
yes, I can't wait. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thanks, listeners.
Thank you for being with us. Bye for now.
Bye.